Well, spring practice is amongst us, so let's look at what to expect and what are we really looking for. The first thing I noticed is Rhule starts practice earlier than Frost, about an hour earlier, which I'm sure has to do with academics and getting them into class. The other thing I really like about Rhule is that he has this accountability system he uses. If you haven't heard, he started it during winter conditioning, which holds the players accountable for every action they're involved in, from getting up in time, being late to class, going to class, how many times they go to study hall, as well as their performance during commitment week. And if you haven't seen that, it's really pretty good. If you missed it, I did a video showing these guys during commitment week and their preparation and their competitiveness, and it's really interesting to check it out. So if you get a chance, check that out. As you can see how determined these players are. The great thing about this accountability system is it holds each player accountable, not just to themselves or to the coaches, but more importantly to their teammates. See what Rhule did. Rhule broke down the team into small groups, and if any player fails within that group, the whole group gets punished. And trust me, if any of you have kids, peer pressure means more to them than what mom and dad says. So I like this. They'll go out of their way to make sure they do the right thing because of their peers more than because that's the right thing to do. And I love this philosophy. Now, Rhule also just didn't put receivers with receivers or backs with backs. He mixed it up. He gave each group a variety of all positions. So, in the group you'll have big guys, small guys, fast guys. So each player will have its own talent and weaknesses. So you could really see it during the commitment week as each group was competing. So if someone didn't go to class, the whole group got docked points and got punished. So that's why their teammates within their group would be all over them. So they made sure they went to class. They would even go to extra study halls to make sure they're doing the right thing or to get extra points for their group. And they would do it on their own without the coaches even getting involved. So I just think this is a great philosophy, and I hope he continues to do this year in and year out. This also, you don't realize this also brings unity to the team, but it also shows the coaches who's the natural leader of each group. The cream comes to the top, and I really like this. So what are we looking for in these spring practices that are taking place? I know for most of you it's probably the quarterback, and now Casey Thompson won't be involved in spring practice as he's still resting his surgically repaired shoulder, but it's still going to be a very informative spring practice. I mean, it'll show us more about Jeff Sims. We really don't know a whole lot about him except what we see on the Georgia Tech film. And what about Purdy? Don't forget about Purdy and the other quarterbacks on this roster, which should get all of them should get a pretty good look. I think Rhule's going to want to see them all, see what each one can do. And don't count Purdy out of this quarterback race, as this staff loves a running quarterback, and no QB probably runs as well as Purdy does. The big question is Jeff Sims the number one quarterback right now? I'm really not sure. He does have the upper hand, and he does have more Power 5 starts than any other quarterback in the quarterback room combined, not counting Casey Thompson, of course. But I still think the quarterback race is up for grabs, as you really don't know what you have with Jeff Sims. I mean, we need to know more than what we just see on film, like what motivates him. Is he used to fighting for a starting job to the point where he has to come out each practice and put his best effort in to win the job? Or has it always been easy for him because the talent of the other quarterbacks around him were so far away from him that he basically was given the starting job, or it was easy for him to get the starting job? So does he even want to go all out and compete for the starting job? Because he's going to really have to, especially with Casey Thompson. And we know we have that in Casey Thompson. If you remember right, we saw last year Casey Thompson came in here and won the respect of his teammates. And him just hanging around at Nebraska, not entering the transfer portal, showed me his mentality. And that was even knowing he had just had surgery on his shoulder and knowing that he probably won't be ready for spring practice. That shows you how well-rounded Casey Thompson really is. I don't think he really cares who came in to compete against him. I mean, he's basically saying, bring anyone on, bring it on, and let's the best man win. And I believe he feels he could win this position no matter who comes in here, even with him missing spring ball. Also keep in mind, Casey Thompson's 24 years old. That's very mature for a college quarterback. Most kids 24 have already moved on. They're in the NFL or they moved on past their college career. So we have an upper hand with Casey Thompson. He's very mature for most college kids. This is another reason why I feel Casey Thompson will win the starting quarterback job in the fall. And I believe he'll shine under Matt Rhule. Now, don't count Jeff Sims out yet, as he played very well at Georgia Tech. He fought through some injury issues also while he was playing at Georgia Tech. Plus, Sims is 6'4", 220 pounds, and can run. And he fits nicely under Satterfield's offense. So he does have what it takes to make this team go further. And it wouldn't disappoint me at all if Jeff Sims won the starting job. He'll also have he'll have more talent around him than he had at Georgia Tech at the other positions. And with that, I think I believe he could do really well. This also makes it tougher on Casey Thompson. So Casey is going to have to come in here in the spring, summer, and the fall camp and adjust, as I feel he's going to have to run more with this offense, which I believe he can do and do well. Now, if you're looking for a bright side, something good to get excited about, keep in mind both Casey Thompson and Jeff Sims both have over 20 power games played, and I don't think you could say that about any other team in the country. So Nebraska is extremely fortunate and extremely lucky to have both these guys on this roster. This is another reason why I feel the Huskers will do well this season. Kind of an early prediction. I really believe they will win enough and they'll make a bowl this season and in that streak. It's funny, do you remember when that statement didn't even have to be said? You never went into the season saying, are we going to make a bowl? We never even thought about it. It was a given. It's like getting up and breathing. You didn't even think about it. And now we've gotten to the point where we're making that statement, or asking, are we going to make a bowl? It's just remarkable to me. I still sometimes have a hard time believing it. Now, the question is, if you're wondering how many wins they'll have this season, well, right now it's really hard to say. It's a little early for that. There's still a lot of unanswered questions on this team. Plus, we don't know who's going to bolt once this transfer portal opens back up. And you're going to have a few. They got too many scholarship players on the roster, so there will be some that leave. So that's going to be see how that turns out. But we should know more as these practices go on and continue. I do expect the quarterback race to be a tight and extremely close race throughout the spring, fall, and up to the game time to start. And like I stated in my quarterback video, if you haven't seen it, I created a quarterback video who would start at quarterback. But like I stated in there, I feel Rhule will end up this season playing both Thompson and Sims in games, unless one of them just outshines and separates themselves from the other one, that we don't see coming. I don't think that's the case. I think it's going to be a close, tight race all the way to the end. They're both very talented, can both run the offense. And so because of that, I think you're going to see a two-quarterback kind of system. Give the defenses something else to look forward to and practice and get ready for in a week's time. Now, I know quarterback is the one position everybody's looking forward to seeing. But for me, it's the offensive and defensive lines. That's really what I want to see. If we have any hope of getting back to consistently being a top 20, top 10 team each year, then we're going to have to get back to having them solid lines each year. And that's on both sides of the ball. It's not just the offense, but it's offensive and defense. It's not going to matter who's the quarterback, who's your starting QB, if we can't protect them or if we can't stop the run. To me, the offensive line and defensive lines are going to be key. What about the running backs? If you didn't hear today in Rhule's press conference, he brought up that Anthony Grant is currently suspended. Now, it sounds to me like it's all academics. It's just academics. He's day-to-day on practices, and depending if he can get his academics on track, he should be fine. But to me, we're going to need Anthony Grant this season. But Rhule seems really excited about the depth of running back in the running back room. He called Gabe Ervin one of the stars of the offseason. He feels he could be a key factor this year, especially in the fourth quarter, as Gabe is 220 pounds and one of the faster players on the team. So he could be a diamond in the rough for us this year, which would boost that position nicely, especially with better quarterback play. Also, keep in mind, A.J. Allen is back. He's 100% now from his injury last year. And he looked good last year. He looked pretty good last year before he got hurt. And I expect kind of the same thing running the bigger back. You know, if it's not Anthony Grant, maybe it could be Gabe Ervin. And then kind of filtering A.J. Allen with his finesse and style of running for a kind of a 1-2 combo punch during games. The question really is Anthony Grant going to be that first back, or can Gabe Ervin step up and be that back? I know it sounds like Rhule really likes Ervin, so that's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. But there's a lot of young talent in that running backs room, and it's going to be nice to see how all this pans out. Now, back to this offensive line. If it can repair some of the holes it had, and with good quarterback play, I could see, I'm kind of looking forward and seeing us having a decent offensive year this year. Even Rhule stated this team has a lot of talent and has the talent to win now rather than later. He didn't feel like it was in a rebuilding stage. We need to find out, did Rhule do enough to solve that offensive line problem? Now, on the defensive side, let's get to the defensive side. And again, it goes back to the defensive line, as depth is a big question on the defensive line. We're definitely going to need players like Judy, Roquan Buckley, and Ty Robinson to do well this year. I mean, also Wynn is back this year. And if he could step it up and play well this season, it's going to be huge for us. So to me, it's time for Wynn, Robinson, Judy, and Buckley to start making an impact. And I do believe they can, and I know they have it in them to do it. So let's see if Rhule and staff can get them to that next level. We're really going to need this. Now, Ty Robinson won't be available this spring due to an injury. He's healing up, but he should be back in time for fall camp at 100%. And hopefully if he could stay healthy and have a big year this season, it's going to be great to see. So I'm also interested in seeing more on this 3-3-5 defense. A question that to me I want answered with this defense: can any of our edge players play on the line and handle the physicality of the Big Ten? We're going to need players like Chief Borders, Butler, Gunnarsson. We're going to need them to step up and do well this year. if we have a chance to be decent on defense. I'm also looking forward to seeing what Maverick Noonan can do. Can he break through early? And he'll be involved during the spring. I'm excited. He's got a lot of upside. I'm excited to see how he turns out. And he's here early. He's a freshman. He's here early, and he'll be involved in spring practice. So that should give him a boost in the start of his Husker career. To the linebackers, that again is another concerning depth, depth, I should say, on the linebacker position. Now we do have two really good ones coming back in Reimer and Heinrich. The only problem with them is they've dealt with injury problems throughout their time here. And if they go down, or even if one of them goes down, who could step up? Who will step up? We need, like, can Snodgrass step up? Gaber, Kapai, or even Malcolm, can they step up and do the job and do the job well? That's really the question. Can at least one of them have a breakout year? And let's hope so. If Reimer and Heinrich can stay healthy, hopefully one of these players or a couple of these players can step up and start showing something and have a breakout year. So let's keep an eye on this throughout this spring practice and fall practice coming. For the most part, these questions or concerns won't be answered until the fall. Before we go, let's talk a little bit about recruiting, as this Saturday, March 25th, is the date we're looking forward to, as the Huskers will be hosting 25 recruits, which includes Dylan Raiola, and 17 of these recruits are 4-star players, which 2 of them are 5 stars. And 15 of these recruits are also top 300 in the country. This is actually a remarkable feat for any program, especially for a team that just hired their head coach 4 months ago and coming off a couple of 4-win seasons. So let's cross our fingers that this weekend's a big success for us. And we all should be excited about this no matter what, as this shows you kind of what we can expect in years to come in recruiting. Keep in mind, this is happening now. Like I said, when this team puts some wins together and the coaching staff's been here a year or two and almost got some normalcy to it, what kind of talent are we going to bring in? If we're getting this now, with the coach staff being just put together and hadn't been together 4 months and coming off a couple 4-win seasons, we could do this and be impressive this way. Man, this is exciting to see what the future holds for us. So, and again, I want to thank everyone for watching. And if you wouldn't mind, please subscribe to the channel and click on notifications, as it doesn't cost you anything and it means the world to me. Also, give this video a thumbs up, give it a like. And once I get 100 likes, I'll send out a big country hat to one of my subscribers. And I also still plan to give away tickets to the games. I don't go to the games much anymore. I don't live in the state anymore. Maybe one or so I go. And they usually will go to waste. So this year I plan to give them to the subscribers so they don't go to waste. And it kind of shows my appreciation for you guys subscribing and watching the videos, because that's how YouTube judges us anyway. So it's my pleasure to do it. It's not like I'm going out of my way doing anything. Again, thank you everybody, and until the next video, go Big Red.